Well, what's the crack, everybody? You're all very welcome to episode 164 of Buckshot. I'm, of course, Tom O'Mahony, and it is, as you listen to this, it'll be Friday, the 20th of November 2020. As Patreons will listen/watch this, it'll be up on the Patreon page. Just, ad-free and delicious for those lovely people. Not that you're not all lovely, but you know what? Some kids are nicer than others, i.e. the ones that come with money. So, Patreon people, thank you very, very much. To the people who bought merch this week, you mad bastards, people are buying masks with my face on it. What are you fucking doing? Obviously, it's just to keep up with children away with my fucking logo on your face. My thanks very much. I got a couple of people sent me pictures of them in the shop, freaking people out wearing masks. So the merch shop, check it down in the show notes. Give it a gander. So we share the show. Also, if you would like to do none of that, but you just want to be sound, if you're listening on Apple Podcast or whatever platform allows you to leave a comment or rate it, don't leave me nothing like a 2-star. Nobody's going to learn fuck all from that unless you're an actual top end podcaster and we can learn from you. Nah, if you got 5 stars, we want them and a nice comment. Keep them coming. Like I said, just before Christmas, the last week before Christmas, I'm going to pick the best comment and you will be getting a t-shirt with the Buckshot stuff on it, and I will contact you for your size and all the rest of it. You know the crack. Best comment on Apple Podcasts. Send me a screenshot of it because they don't alert you. Send me a screenshot. You know where to find me. Tom O'Mahony Comedy on all usual platforms. And that's the jazz. Now, getting on to today's show. There doesn't really need much of an intro. He's a hugely long-term actual fan. We do say, he's one of my best friends in comedy, which means, yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. But he's an actual friend of the show, being on Buckshot Sideshow almost every single week. You know him, you love him. Jimbo, what's the crack, baby?
What's happening, man? This is your 164th episode of this.
Yeah. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, the Ramble Pod itself, which is the midweek kind of just me fucking going off. I think we're over the hundreds. Yeah, we're over.
Right when you said that, I started Googling here, so I pulled up your Acast page, and it's so your Ramble Pod, you've got 103 of those, and that count is separate to these.
Yeah,
these are different.
Yeah.
Good Lord. So you've done 164 of these and 103 of those. That's 265. Good God. And then you combine that with all the Buckshot Sideshow stuff as well. You are an online demon.
Yeah. I just re-released all the Tom and Jerry Show podcasts as well. There's
oh my God, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So because they're evergreen, it's just us talking bullshit, sitting in cars, or driving to gigs. You know what I mean? So they're evergreen. There's talks of it. Like McBride wants to do it again. It's just finding time to sit down because we're going to blast them all out. Probably do it over the Christmas, I would imagine. So it's. But look what the fuck else am I going to be doing, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. There ain't shit else. There's live comedy is dead. Doesn't exist anymore.
And I've kind of backed myself into a corner too. I got to have one out every week. Now when people actually physically invest in the show, nobody gets snotty though. Nobody goes, where's my show? It's a little late.
Are you serious?
Nobody does. I'm
shocked at that because I've heard of that in just about every other podcast I know that is big enough to have like an actual fandom. Buddy, if you're 20 minutes late, especially apparently, okay, well maybe you'll tell me this. I think people who are getting it for free complain more than people who join the Patreon, because once they join the Patreon, it's more of a personal relationship with you. And once it's a personal relationship, they understand that you're a guy and you've got shit going on. And sometimes you're weak, you lose control of your days. Like that happens. Everybody understands that.
And if they're the kind of person who, out of the goodness of their, and you recognize something that's, hey, I'm worthwhile. Getting something this is worthwhile. I'm getting something. If they're that kind of a person, they're not a cunt. And I've you know what? Like I'm not saying I've got a cunt filter, but I guess in the sort of doses that do shit like that, they would switch off after 5 minutes. Do you know?
I think it's because you're too like foul mouth aside. You're a very genuinely positive guy and you like stuff. You know what I mean? This seems to be a podcast that's powered by stuff that you like, as opposed to the other kind of podcast, which is powered by stuff people hate. So people are just like, here's a podcast about shit that I hate and people that I hate. You know, I hate wankers who do this. And that's a whole, like, believe me, I listen to a couple of those. Sometimes it's healthy, but it's not most of my diet. Most of my diet is people who are enthusiastic and like things and are just interested in stuff as opposed to shitting on stuff. And so if you're the kind of guy that's going to subscribe to stuff, to positive ones, then you're not going to complain too much.
Jesus, I might be some sort of guru or something, Jim. Oh my goodness. Speaking of shitting on stuff, Jim, Wild Mountain Time. What's going on? Were you on Claire Byrne? Were you on Claire Byrne the other day?
I was on Claire Byrne Live. So
by the way, I'm really glad this American thing is really working for you now. You know, you've been doing it a long time, this whole American thing.
Yeah, well, I'm sticking to this character.
Good on you.
I think it's got legs.
It's coming to fruition. God bless you.
It's going somewhere. No, yeah. So Wild Mountain Time, that movie trailer dropped, and the fucking internet went crazy. But okay, let me put it another way: the Irish internet went crazy about it. I saw more quote tweets about that movie trailer than I've ever seen about anything else. And then I talked to my folks back home, and I'm like, yeah, they released that movie with the Irish accents. All the Irish people are pissed off about it. And they're like, what movie with the Irish accent?
Yeah.
You're not from Ireland. That's just another movie trailer, man. It's another romantic comedy. Guest starring John Hamm. He's probably the biggest name in it. And he's not even one of the main guys. You know what I mean? The main guys are the two fucking cultures with dirt on their faces. Those are the main characters.
It's priceless. The trailer plays out like one of those 90s kind of. It doesn't look of this era even, does it? The way they've made it, like
and maybe that's what it's for. Maybe it's a little bit of escapism. You know what I mean? Maybe people should stop thinking about those accents aren't accurate. Yeah, well. Fucking Star Wars wasn't accurate either, man. Sometimes you just want to tell me a story. Tell me a story about two people in a mythical land.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jamie Dornan can... for me, it was never the accents, because nobody ever gets the accent right. It was never the accents. For me, it was just weird, because it was like, this is like Waking Ned. Which
it really was. Because everybody's filthy. Everybody's wearing clothes that are patchwork clothes. There's no suits or shirts in the movie. So at one point, a guy drives up in a car that's clearly from the 30s, and one guy goes, "That's the most beautiful car I've ever seen." But nobody says that's clearly a very old automobile. Like people that could just be, oh, well, that guy's got the new version of what everyone else has. Jamie Dornan is dragging a boat around a hill for some reason.
Yeah,
what is that? Do you know what that is?
I have no idea. But I genuinely think that movie was funded by Tourism Ireland, and it will be played on every Aer Lingus flight. Or what it'll do, it'll play on every flight of around airports where they know people may possibly fly to Ireland.
Yeah,
Americans will come to Ireland on the back of that movie. They won't come to it on the back of
beautiful of Love Hate.
Yeah,
ain't nobody coming to Dublin because Love Hate is on.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it was like, what was your first impression when you got here for the very first? I mean, I know the last time you were on, we talked about how you ended up here, but just as a matter, was it a wet towel? Well, you came to Dublin, so it can't be too backwards.
So Dublin's a city, and it feels like any other city. And as cities go, it's pretty small. You know what I mean? Like it ain't Manhattan. But man, like the first couple of days I was here, when I tell the story, I'm like, the first day I was here, this first thing I saw, it was probably like the first week of the first month. I don't know, but it sticks out in my mind. Because I'm walking down the street. I've been caught out. I didn't have an umbrella or a hat, so I'm getting wet. It's raining. And on the intersection of Dame Street and Georgia Street, right there, smack bang in the middle of town, traffic is stopped because there's an old lady standing in the middle of the intersection. She clearly had the walk sign, and a taxi just ran the light, and it didn't hit her, but it stopped short in front of her, and it scared her. And she has an umbrella, and she's beating the hood with it. And she's going, "You fucking agent!" And so that's my best memory from the first couple of days I arrived here. What else do I remember? The accents in Dublin, dude. Unless you're one of them D4 pricks that sounds like me, some of them are pretty tough to understand.
Yeah,
it just genuinely it's guttural, and you speak real fast. Everybody here talks really fast, and I think I've picked that up because I've had people. I have a day. I'm a comedian, but I got a day job. I got an office gig, and I have had people email me after I give presentations like, "Jesus, man, you talk really fast," and that I never used to get that feedback before. I think people just talk really fast, and so I've acclimatized to the level of conversation that y'all are at.
I have found out that there's such a bizarreness with the really strong Dublin accent, and I'll never forget. I was talking with a guy one day. I knew him. It was through a construction job I did years ago, and I just knew him from years and years ago of doing a job up here. And I ran into him Abbey Street.
Right.
And he was in the middle of a job.
Working.
Yeah, he's working. And I'd forgotten how thick his fucking accent was. And I forgot how many vowels he was able to squeeze into words. Like he's standing there. He was actually waiting on a delivery of a truck to come up to him. And so I was chatting away, and he's Abbey Street up along there by it was the Twisted Pepper. What's it called now?
Closed for coronavirus.
Yes. Yeah. But I remember he was looking across at the all Chinese buffets and fucking Asian. He's like, do you like a good Chinese?
Do you like a good Chinese? Like, there's so many superfluous U's in those words. It doesn't.
There was no need. There was no need in all those vowels. No need at all. And I remember, Jesus Christ, the hardship in doing that accent. I think my one is probably one of the handier ones. If somebody was to rip it off, it's like, all right, but there's not a lot to this. It's just, it's just a mongrel version of a few things, but it's pretty handy.
I don't think, like, talking about the Wild Mountain Time thing, I don't think Americans would recognize an accurate Dublin accent as Irish at all.
No.
Like, I think Wild Mountain Time has got that country because Americans expect the Irish accent to do the hi da 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 da. I like a good Chinese. Like, that's not. That's nothing. That sounds like something that lives in a sewer. Like, that's not the hills and dales of beautiful green.
I suppose they could have Conor McGregor to fucking thank for that. But I mean, he had subtitles for the first 2 years.
Who the fuck was that guy? Dude, subtitles. Do you remember the movie Intermission?
Yes, it's
a great movie, and that's up there with The Snapper is like my favorite Irish movie. It's a
great show.
Irish, but I remember showing that to my friends in DC and being like, "We got to watch this movie. It's got Cillian Murphy in it. It's got a bunch of actors you're going to recognize. It's a funny pastiche. There's 10 stories and they intersect, and it's fun." And 20 minutes into it, one of my friends was like, "Dude, can we turn on the fucking subtitles? I'm just not getting this. There's a whole scene where she asked the bus driver, 'Have I got a Ronnie?' And and he goes, 'You're no Tom Selleck.' But not only could they not understand what they were saying, they didn't know the noun Ronnie. So people going, 'Have I got a Ronnie?' That doesn't make any fucking sense. They don't even get why that's funny or insulting, or like they're like, something's going on here, but I'm not getting it. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on either, because there seems to be certain levels of tolerances too. I think your buddies, because they didn't give a fuck about listening to other accents, because in America you're told, sure, look, there's our accent and everybody else can just fucking warm to it.
I still don't think I have an accent. You people have accents.
Yeah.
I talk normal.
It's exactly that. Yeah. Because you go to, like, I have American listeners, a good few American listeners, like, and I've never gotten a message going, what the fuck? What, Gordo on his podcast.
He's Mr. Worldwide out there.
He's mostly American, I'd imagine, and he still has a thick Wexford. I think it's up to people's level of tolerances. Like, he talks about drinking tea out of a mug.
All right.
Like, if you said that's tea out of a mug, do you know? And I think it's a level of acceptance. I remember being in Vegas and standing there for 15 minutes because I was kind of broken, man. Not financially, because I didn't gamble, but I've been on the beer for 4 days.
Yeah, that's what Vegas will do to you. 24-hour bars, and you can drink in the streets, and it's just...
Yeah. I went on the tear with a fucking Russian taxi driver. Yeah.
Right on.
Hey, I was sitting in the back going, where's a decent pub that isn't a dose? Like, this whole place is a dose.
I want to have a beer, and I don't want to be able to see any blinking neon.
Yeah. And
that's for me.
He went, I know a really good bar just around the corner. So we drove to it, literally was around the corner, just 5 feet off the strip. And he went, actually, I almost finished. Fuck. And he just switched off the meter, walked in.
Nice.
But I remember the following day, I just wanted tea. I've been used to coffee, but I just needed a tea.
I know exactly.
Went up to a Krispy Kreme.
Oh, God.
And
you're like, please help me.
But because I was speaking in a different accent to what this woman had, I may as well have just been slapping my dick off the counter. Yeah. She was just looking at me like, what?
And she's like, I want to help you. I just can't.
She didn't, though, Jim. She didn't really want to help me, to be honest. There was a lot of that now. There was a lot of, look, if you're not going to talk like how I lean heavily into my L sounds. And
also, like, I'm working at a goddamn Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
I have a menu behind me. It has 18 items and 36 combinations. Order one of those or I can't help you.
Yeah.
I can't, like, there's just no, and a lot of that is just the way America shits on the lowest level of service workers, gives them no power to make any decisions whatsoever, which means that if you're like, can you just sell me a tea? And then I can see the milk over there. Can you give me some of that? And they're like, that's for the ice cream machine. I'm not allowed to touch it for anything else. I will get fired because they do measure it at the end of every shift. I'm a human being and I can see what you like. That's the thing in Ireland. I have noticed that there is just a tendency like, well, the rule is that the milk's just for the machine, but I can see you just need a splash. I can fucking help you with this. And in the States, they're like, no, the rule is the rule. I can't do nothing about the rule. I was flying back from the States one time. I was in California for work, and I'm sitting next to this like teenage kid, and his dad is sitting somewhere else. They checked into the flight, but they didn't book their seats, and then they got stuck in middle seats far away from each other. So whatever. The dad comes over and starts chatting to the kid, and he leaves. And I'm like, so where were you? And he's like, we had a great time. We were in LA and we went to San Francisco and blah blah blah. And then he goes, look at this shit that happened. And he goes, we got a parking ticket in our rental car. And he goes, and look, and he showed me they'd taken photographs of it because they were going to dispute it. And the photograph was of this kind of a confusing sign where it says, like, beyond this line, no parking, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Thursday, excluding holidays, like a long list of legalese. But the bottom line was there was a line from the bottom of the sign painted on the asphalt, and you can clearly see the two back wheels of the car are over the line. Now, they're not over the line by much, couple of inches, but clearly over the line. And he goes, can you believe we got a ticket for that? And I'm like, I absolutely can believe you got a ticket for that. You're showing me evidence of you being over the line. And he goes, but I thought there'd be a bit of leeway. And that's the funniest thing I've ever fucking heard. Because if you're dealing with American parking enforcement, there is no leeway. You are over the line.
Yeah.
It's black and white. Whereas I do think, like, even the authority figures in Ireland be like, he's fucking close enough.
Yeah,
fine.
But again, I think it probably softens out if you were in a small town, that way, because every place.
He's in Los Angeles. That guy's got a quota to meet.
Yeah, everybody and every place we just mentioned is a fucking humongous city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, the tolerance levels in Dublin go down a little. Like if you were in a local town, you're parked wrong, you'd nearly get a phone call from the parking meter dude going, hey, move your fucking car, will you? Or like, hey, your car's parked weird. Are you okay? Is there something we can do to help? Like, come here, you were barely off the airwaves full stop during the presidency. You must have been licking your lips.
Was great. Oh my God, that was so much fun. Because I'm not a political fucking expert. I'm just a guy who's from DC who still has a subscription to the Washington Post, and I read all of it. So I know enough to natter away with the best of them. But the amount of times that they would have me on these radio programs. So I had a podcast on News Talk. Go to newstalk.com and look up The Path to Power, because I know it's a news station. They have people covering the actual issues. What they don't have are people like me who takes the stories of the week and goes, hey, do you guys remember that scene from The Simpsons? And then playing the clip from The Simpsons that was relevant.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing for them. But yeah, dude. And then the week of the election, so I had my podcast on News Talk. That was a regular thing. And then the day of, I went on Dermot and Dave on Today FM. News Talk had me on. I went on to Ireland AM. That's a TV show. That was my first fucking proper television appearance. And I'm filming it on my shitty ass webcam, sitting in the room that you can see me in now, like wearing a collared shirt and no pants.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Talking to motherfucker. I didn't know Tommy Bowe was on that show.
Yeah, he started. Yeah, he's been hosting it. Yeah.
Yeah, he got me. But they were like, all right, cool. We're going to put you through to Tommy Bowe here in a second. I was like, Tommy Bowe? I watched that guy win the Six Nations not too long ago.
You should have
How's he been doing?
You should open with that. How you doing, Tommy Bowe?
How you doing, Tommy? Last time I saw you, you were covering the Nation in Glory. How's the morning television circuit treating you? Are you doing okay out here? He's all right though. He, like as a talking head goes, because everybody tries to make the transition from sports into punditry.
Yeah,
like some of these motherfuckers can't talk, dude. Some of them really can't. You put a camera on them and they get all tongue tied and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing. You remember like Talladega Nights? It was like his hands are coming. I just thought the car run real good. And his hands start coming up into shot. He's like, "What are you doing with your hands?" I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah. But Bo is a crafty horse. He has a clothing line. The second he wasn't even finished rugby, and he had is there the 15 Kings or something? He calls it, or something like that. King 15. Right. He's got a clothing line out like of smart cash, crafty whore. Like he knew.
Is it smart cash or is it fucking culty smart cash?
I know. I don't know. I don't.
Is it pointy brown shoes and checked shirts?
I don't. I think you could wear some of it. Some of it. I'm not saying you could wear some of it. Stylish Jim and his socks. I don't know if they do much of a sock range.
Yeah.
Have you been still rocking the sexy socks? Or is it
yeah, but
what's the point?
I'm in my house all day. I wrote. So you saw me at the Laughter Lounge the other day. We were doing a recording the Laughter Lounge is the biggest comedy. I don't know how much your listeners know about this.
They know about it. They know about it.
And they're doing this thing where they brought a bunch of us in and they built a bespoke stage to record some online stuff. And their idea is they're going to do holiday parties. So it is a good idea if you're in an office somewhere and you need some people to cheer you up. Laughterlounge.com. Go book that shit. So I saw you in there, and that's the first time I've been dressed since March. Like I haven't, I'll put on jeans now, like as a way to give myself a little treat. You know what I mean? I've got three or four pairs of sweatpants and pajama pants, and that's kind of what I live in.
I imagine you just in front of the long mirror, like just put your foot, like you're up on the ball of your foot, like just having a look at your ass in the jeans, just going, still got it, girl.
Still got it. These must have shrunk in the water. Yeah. So no, but you're right. I do. I remember getting stick from some of the guys in the office about that. I was wearing a pair of. I bought a pair of green trousers just because I saw them and I was like, fucking. And I wear colorful shit. I wear colorful socks and colorful like shirts and stuff. It's whatever. But I remember walking in and seeing like the 5 Irish guys who were from various Midland counties just looking at me going, only you could wear those pants, Jim. And I'm like, I bought them here and I'm sure they made more than one pair. Yeah. So I think like a lot of Irish guys are like gray and blue. That's what I wear. Maybe a nice muted brown. Something
you see, you're fine, but you have to remember it's the fear of showing extravagance. That's what it is. You're like, honestly, you see it. You go just 5 minutes up the road from me, where here it's an Evoca hand weavers, the original one. Yeah. And you go in there and everybody's wearing like mustard trousers, and it's stuff you go, I would, it's good gear. Some of it, okay, take that fucking shirt from around, that jumper from around your neck, Quentin,
Right. Yeah.
But it's all are wealthy people. I'm the only scumbag in there going, can I get a coffee? But they are all, and they have no fear of showing exuberance because they're.
See, but why does that got to be a class thing, man? Like
because
they make cheap, colorful shit too. Just wear colors.
We're only 100 years from being fucking told that if you get charged, you'll get charged more money in rent if you look like you own more shit. That's literally, man. You can see it between farms in the north of Ireland and farms in south of Ireland. Farms in south of Ireland could be just as well, probably even wealthier because but they keep the place. They don't have the farm management to keep the place looking square and tidy. Like you go up the north. I remember we filmed it was a short, it was kind of a dark show, but we had to film on a couple of different farmyards. And every one of them, I went, are these all abandoned? They went, no, these are all working farms. They were fucking immaculate.
Wow.
Yeah, and when we talked about one of the guys who's kind of a historian, he was a writer on this thing, he went, the reason behind that is the landlords in the Republic back in the day would have fucking
charge you more if you looked like you had more.
If you looked like you were keeping the place in order, and that has and that's only 2 generations ago, Jim.
For a societal meme, for want of a better word. If you look like you've got too much money, then bad shit happens to you. Like that's, I guess that goes back, that kind of ties in with that, they call it like crab bucket syndrome, where they're like, if one crab if you have a bunch of crabs in a bucket, they can't get out because one tries to get out and the others just pull them right back. Where it's like, okay, well, it's the whole thing of, shiny socks, huh? Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
Like, fucking, he thinks he's a guy who buys socks. That's all. It's not, I used to do a bit about that in my act where I was like the concept of notions. Like that's a bad thing. Other places call it ambition. You know what I mean? Like, no. Tommy's been working a lot of overtime. I think he's trying to buy a boat. Yeah, he's got notions. Yeah, he does have notions, dude. They're called ideas. He's got dreams, and he wants to see them through to fruition.
I think it's softening, though. I think it is softening as people are becoming more.
It sure is.
Like people are getting more and more mindful of fucking. Hey, you can't be knocking every fucking move a fucker makes. Like you know what I mean.
Some people are just doing, and some people are taking the piss now, and they need to be dragged down a little bit. But and also that I love that about Irish culture and societal interaction. That if you can't take a joke at your expense, everybody looks at that like a giant moral failing on your part. Never saying like, "Hey man, it's my wedding day. You guys are supposed to be nice to me today." Like or whatever it is, you know what I mean? My dad just died. Could you guys lay off for 5 fucking minutes? Every single time. Like the whole question is like, well, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Jesus Christ, lighten up.
Yeah.
He's only I like that. That's a fun little piss take of it. I wonder if that's like the dark underbelly to the he's getting notions stuff. I wonder.
Oh, for sure.
Not the other.
For sure it is. Like if you dug deeply, I bet there's into the culture of where comedy comes from. Like you look at it, like if like I remember talking with you before about like the Jewish comedies. You know, there was a huge. That's a funny bunch of fuckers coming out of New York.
I had this theory about the comedy that develops in awful, really horrible societal victimization. Because who are the funniest people on the planet? Black Americans and Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
And Irish people are pretty goddamn funny as well. It's tough to be funny when you're in charge of everything. You know what I mean? And when you've had every break, when everything's going your way, you don't have to be funny. You're comfortable and warm and well fed and actualized.
Well, why does that happen?
Humor.
Why does that happen? Because like you look at like I talked with a Polish chap about this. He's a fucking like he was quite funny, but he was a real culty Polish guy. I said, why is there? I was talking with him about comedy, about coming to the comedy club. He was like, and he said it like as if I'd asked if he'd come to my satanic ritual that we were hosting at the weekend. He would, why would I go? Why would I go? Why? I said, because people like to laugh.
Funny, yeah.
And he had just been fucking telling me the hell he grew up in, where inflation would go crazy because it was under the Iron Curtain or whatever. 1 week, and
all of a sudden your house is worth nothing,
and a packet of fags might cost a fucking house. You know what I mean? Like, so I was going, why aren't these fuckers funnier too? You know what? Why are Black, Irish, and Jewish people,
funny? I think you kind of need it to sort of help yourself accept the absurdity, the inherent absurdity, and the awful things that humanity does to each other. I don't know. I mean, have you ever heard that theory about the whole being cool? Like, I think that was a Miles Davis album, "The Birth of the Cool." No, and about how if there wasn't slavery, there would be no such concept as cool. Because what's cool? Being cool is pretending nothing bothers you. And that came from the only way you could keep your dignity whilst being a slave and being downtrodden and just being like, all right, well, these other people have everything over on me. And if I step out of line for 1 second, I will literally die. But I'm just going to act like it doesn't bother me. And I'm going to act like I can't do it. Be like, huh? Oh, yeah, sure. If that's what you got to do. Go ahead and hit me and acting cool like that. Damn it, man. I read a really intelligent article about this and I'm mangling it right now.
No, that's Jim. I don't want any levels of intelligence here, please. as you talk to me from behind your weird gate, your event, Jim, you can't catch coronavirus over Zoom. It's okay. You don't need the mask in front of you.
Is this thing, do we put out a video or you just put out audio?
I put out, no, the video goes up for Patreons only, but it's fine. It's just because they're cool.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what you guys can't see is that I recently purchased in my house, or the people that are audio only. I purchased a nice, and let me spin it around so the camera can see it. It's a nice microphone, but it's got this big giant acoustical foam U thing behind it.
It looks like
if I speak into it, is in between me and the camera. But he does look like those, or I would say ice hockey pads for.
Yes, yeah. It looks like the inside one. It's you're dead right, Tev. I can't. I've like that thing. I know it looks just like a pallet, but it's actually full of soundproofing down the inside of it as well.
I need to get some of that. You can see behind me, all the walls are empty. I just moved into this place. I need to get some soundproof tiling and stuff. Really take the echo out of this room.
It's not bad. That mic is really
Not
fucking
bad.
good. Honestly, some lads you're like, and you know that they may as well be inside in a fucking slaughterhouse.
They're calling you from their phone that they dropped down a well first.
Yeah.
I tell you, this fucking thing helps me with get the goddamn radio gigs that I'm getting because nobody can go into the studios now, and there's a whole like cottage industry in schmucks like me who live in Dublin, close to the radio stations, who are like, no matter what the issue is, pick a news story. I need somebody who can come in here and waffle about it for 10 minutes and be halfway entertaining and maybe have half of a point. Because
Same, I've done a bunch of them for news talk as well.
Yeah.
They ring up and they just, can you talk silly?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Can you talk about, hey, did you happen to see that story about some fucking bullshit magazine came out with a list of, I don't know, the top sexiest accents in the world? You want to come talk about that for 10 minutes? You know, and you're like, sure, absolutely. But now that those the studios are all closed, they're like, can you dial in? And if you can dial in, what do you sound like? So the fact that I spent a couple $100 on a microphone and a thing like that, I think that's standing to me.
Yeah, you're going to save it on socks to not show off to the public. I was
thinking about that the other day. The I put on when I went into the Laughter Lounge to record that thing. I put on a pair of nice shoes, and I haven't worn non-trainers literally since March. And I was thinking to myself, wow, if this shit doesn't ever stop, I own all of the nice shoes that I will need for the rest of my life. I'm never going to wear out a pair of nice office shoes again. Like whatever I have, that's fine.
Jim is underselling it here. Jim wears snazzy shoes. He's a snazzy shoe wearer. He's got a lot of time for his feet, is what I'm saying about Jim.
Dude, if you don't have kids, you have more disposable income.
It's true. It's true.
You know, just don't make a baby, and then you can buy all the shoes you want. Man.
Hey, far prior to any fucking babies, shoes were not at the top of my list, Jim. No, weapons and whatnot, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. I have a home and I don't have a single sword. How can you have a home without a sword?
Jesus Christ, Jim, do you even love your wife? Like, I mean, you have to. They could come traipsing down your road with the pitchforks and their fucking off.
I can't wait to buy a fucking sword and then explain to Lisa. They're like, no, baby, I bought this for you. It looks like something that's for me, but I assure you, this is because I love you. For your birthday, I bought us a sword.
No, you cannot touch it. No, you cannot.
No.
Have you ever heard of the kumite? Have you ever heard of the? Well, I have. Were you happy with the outcome of Joe Biden getting in?
Oh, absolutely. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Come on.
Would there be anybody, who would you want as president if it wasn't Joe? You know, if you had your pick. If it was
I'm not a huge fan of Joe. The only thing I liked about Joe is that I knew, I say now I knew Joe could beat Donald Trump, and he could beat Donald Trump, and he was one of the few of the Democratic challengers that could beat Donald Trump. But Donald Trump lost to the fucking coronavirus. I was telling everybody in January and February, like, look, it's tough to beat an incumbent president if everything's going okay. If there's no giant war and the economy's going okay, generally whoever's in the office is going to stay in the office. And if shit doesn't turn around right now, Trump's going to win. He's going to beat whoever they put up. And then fucking coronavirus and the economy shut down. And now there's, 50 million unemployed Americans. And I'm like, well, no incumbent wins when there's 50 million unemployed Americans. If unemployment rate's 20%, whoever's in the office is going to lose. Even if it's not fair, he's going to lose. So they put Joe forward, and I was like, all right, cool, he'll win. I'm not wild about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris's fucking candidates. Harris is a goddamn cop. I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. And Joe Biden, he's a nice old guy, and his morals are in the right place. And in theory, he's a Democrat. But the motherfucker, you know what I can't get over? And I probably need to, because I'm going to be one of those. I'm going to wind up being one of those old guys like you meet now that were anti-Vietnam War in the 60s, and they still won't shut the fuck up about it.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to be like that for the Iraq War. I still remember everybody that supported the Iraq War, because at the time, and it's not, I'm not doing this to say I told you so, but at the time I was 22 years old, and I was like, this is a bad fucking idea. Iraq ain't had nothing to do with 9/11, and this is a stupid thing. What are we doing? What's the goal here? What are we trying to do? And nobody could ever tell me. I was like, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing it. And I fucking remember that Joe Biden was one of the guys who helped muster up support for the Iraq War. And I'm like, I'm still pissed off about that. Partly because we're still in Iraq. We're still there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not over. And I'm like, anyway, but
There's
he's
none
fine.
of them. There's none of them have blood. Like fucking, I mean, Obama was the smoothest cat that ever fucking walked the planet, but he's still known as the drone king.
He killed a lot of dudes.
That motherfucker wiped out a lot of people.
If you got married in Kurdistan while Obama was president, you had people outside going, look, just watch the horizon, and if you see anything looks like a bird for a minute, I need you to ring this bell.
Yes.
Because I do not want my wedding to get blown up. So that's the thing. Like, when's the last time? There's not really a true. Oh Jesus, are we going to talk politics? I can talk politics. Is that what your people want? There's not like a true.
Jump it down now, Jim. No, don't be getting overly.
All right,
overly fucking deep.
Let me. I'll fucking dumb it down. Pretend you're a truck driver
Yep.
who lives in Iowa, and you make somewhere. You own your own rig, and you make somewhere between 40 and 80 grand a year. Who's your candidate? Who is fighting for you? The answer is nobody, and it hasn't been anybody in like 20 years. It used to be in the 50s and 60s. You could say, "Oh, well, the Democrat. The Democrat is the friend of the union man, and they support things that are what they call now populist, meaning racist, but at the time meant populist as in like would benefit most people." And now both the Republicans and the Democrats are like, no. All we really want is for Wall Street profits to go up and for the insurance companies to make a boatload of money. And it's going to fuck most of you that are in the bottom half of society. And I don't know what to tell you. My portfolio is looking great. So fuck you. So like establishment Democrats and Republicans on not to both sides it up, because Trump is a uniquely pungent flavor of evil. But yeah, I'm delighted. None of this to say I didn't want Joe Biden to win. I wanted Joe Biden to win very badly, and I was delighted when he did. And it's just, you know what? It's going to be nice, man. You're going to be able to go like a week and a half and not think about something the U.S. president said.
But was he any use? Trump? Like, was he like? I mean,
if you want me to say nice things about him, I can say nice things about him.
No, but I'm just wondering, like, number one, obviously, I fuck knows how he got in. I mean, it's a man that not 4 years previous, he was a TV fucking personality.
A literal reality. It'd be like if Anton Deck became prime minister.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like this asshole's from TV hasn't done anything but television for the last 20 years. That's all he's done.
But like, what I'm wondering is, when he got in there, did he just fuck about altogether? Was there anything the cunt did, or
he enriched himself as much as he could?
Of course,
so as soon as he got in the office, he was like, all right, every golf club I own, the membership fees are going up by 5. If you're a member of a Trump golf club, you're now paying 20 grand a year for that privilege because I might show up and I'm the motherfucking president, and that's what you're paying for. And that's what he got. But in terms of, I don't know, the Republicans managed to pass a giant ass tax cut. This is so funny. So they passed this giant fucking tax cut in the first year of his office. It was mainly around businesses and rich people, although middle class people got a decent chunk of change as well. And everyone's like, holy shit, Trump cut taxes. This is great. Built into the motherfucking tax legislation that they passed last year is a giant increase that took place 4.5 years after the law was passed. So it's like they're like, well, look, we're not getting more than one term out of this fucking psycho. We're going to pass this tax law. It's going to go up. So as soon as he loses, 6 months later, everybody's going to be like, who's president? Not Trump. Look at my fucking taxes. They're going through the roof.
Oh, my God, right.
It's this unbelievable sandbag. It's going to happen in February and March, and nobody's really talking about it. Like, everybody's going to blame Joe for this, and Joe's going to be like, come on, man. I don't know what you mean, man.
He does seem like a nice man all the same, though, doesn't he?
He does seem like a very nice man. He absolutely seems like just a nice guy.
Yeah. And what's like, and then there's, I mean, some media would have you believe that fucking half America is is burning at the minute, which I don't buy. Like, I'm guessing it's some hot spots where people are going, and we've all got loads of cameras. Let's put them.
Exactly. There's marches going on. And I remember asking my parents about that because I saw a bunch of news stories were like, this reminds me of 1968. And it was fucking terrible. And I'm like, does it remind you of 1968? And my dad goes, what nobody's talking about is in 1968, you had a bunch of Americans literally building and throwing bombs at each other. Like homemade bombs were a huge fucking thing in the late 60s.
Right.
And nobody's doing that now. They're not. They're marching and there's a lot of noise and people seem to be pissed off. But in terms of just the abject violence of it, it's fine, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like you had whole city block, like Minneapolis had it pretty bad in August, but like city blocks of probably, I don't know, 10 metropolitan U.S. areas, Detroit, Philly, New York, D.C., L.A., Atlanta just burned in 68 and 69. And that kind of didn't happen this time, which is a remarkable thing. The Black Lives Matter movement had marches in every fucking state in America in August. And like, yeah, a couple of them got hot, but only a couple. Only a couple.
Yeah,
if you told me in January what was going to happen in August, I would have said, "Oh, dude, bank on some serious fucking damage." And there was some, but it could have been so much worse.
I would imagine so. Yeah, because it's
not as bad as the news wants you to believe.
Yeah, of course.
These people are selling tickets too, man.
But you were talking about reality. I don't know if you saw this. It fucking made my blood boil. Chortle posted about this, and I don't know, it was a BBC or Channel 4. They're having a bunch of reality stars try stand-up.
Yes, I did. Yeah,
you're like, you pack of cunts. Motherfucker. How about you just let us do stand-up?
You know what? Go for it. Go for it. Go do it. Go be a stand-up. You're going to be exactly as good as everybody else was 2 months in.
Yeah. Dog shit, yeah.
Fine. If people want to buy tickets to it and think that that's what stand-up is, then I don't know, man. Isn't it so odd how protective we are of this of this?
That's it's fucking right. Yeah. And I mean, I tried to tone down the snobbiness a small bit because I kind of, as you get older, you kind of go, you know what? But there's moments where you're kind of looking, certain different types of comedy and comedians. And I was, for me, for the longest time, you were only a fucking comedian if you did stand up. Yeah, the rest of it you can go, yeah. But now, in fairness, I've softened. I've gone, of course, people who make funny things, they're also comedians too.
If you make funny things, you're funny. Well, I mean, I don't know. What if you're a really funny writer? What if you're a really funny? George Saunders' short stories are fucking hilarious. They're hilarious, and it's some of the best writing in the world. What did he win for that novel of his? Did he win the Booker? He either won the Booker or the Nobel. I don't think he's a comic. I don't think he would call himself a comedian. He's a writer. He writes stories.
They're great. You're saying I'm right to be snobby is what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about YouTube here, right? We're talking about TikTok and Vine.
Facebook and
remember Vine?
Jesus. I had a guy on a couple of weeks ago, and you would not believe, but he was actually in the top 5 Viners in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's that?
It's Senan Burns' his name. He's from Tipperary. He's from Clonmel.
Fuck. Dude, I met that kid in at the Vodafone Comedy Festival 2 summers ago.
Steaming drunk, I bet you.
Yes, he was steaming drunk, and he had the look that I had the first year that I got booked for that festival, because it's super fun. It's in the center of town, and it's just a great thing to go to. And he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm sitting. And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm Jim." And then I looked at him. I go, "I know you." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Are they helium balloons?"
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so that's a great fucking point. We can be snobbish about it and be like, "Yeah, but does he have 20 minutes? Can he play? Pick the roughest gig you've ever done. Can he headline the Tap? You remember the Tap pub?
Yeah.
Oh, can you headline the Tap?
The Jobestown Inn. Can you do that?
Can you do the Jobestown? But at the other hand, he did that fucking helium balloon Vine with the car. Probably has been seen. Would you say 50 million people saw it?
Yeah.
Would you say 100 million people saw it?
Yeah. At the time, like, his numbers were so, like, in the top 5 Viners in the world. There was weeks where he was number 1.
Yeah. And, like, dude, he has a series of pictures that is still one of my funniest fucking things that I love saying to people. The one where he's doing the J-Lo jeans pants thing. And he's taking his own photo, and his girl comes in and catches him and leaves, but then he looks at the camera and laughs. Like, it's art. It's absolute fucking art, and it's fantastic shit. So that's where part of me is like, bitch you couldn't do 20 minutes in Jobestown, and the other part of me is like, and I couldn't make any videos like that. I can't. I couldn't do it. Yeah. So Homeboy's got talent. Like, he's funny as shit.
And like, talking with those guys, and he's sure as hell doesn't consider himself a comedian. But I was like, no, you are. Like, you I think you are. I don't know. I think you are.
Need, like, different classifications for it. I remember listening to this interview where I think Chris Rock was going on about this. The same thing. The whole like, are you funny if you do comedy or if you do like? He goes, on the one hand, yeah, I my art form and the thing that I respect is writing jokes and delivering them standing up. And he goes, on the other hand, who the fuck in the world is funnier than Will Ferrell? And Will Ferrell just does sketches and characters. He doesn't, as far as I know, he's never done stand up. Like, you gonna tell me Will Ferrell's not funny? Come on, man, you're lying to yourself now.
Yeah. So So I think.
Do you like how I just compared you, me, and a guy who's famous on Vine to Chris Rock and Will Ferrell?
Yes, I did, and I like it very much. That will be the clip we will pull out for this, just to advertise how Jim completely talks us up. Fuck me, Jim. You must be missing holidays. You are the most holiday bloke. Dude,
I haven't been on a plane since January. That's the longest I think in a long time.
You do serious holidays
in a long time. Yeah. So we the year before we were going back and looking at we were going back and looking through our camera rolls, being like, I miss stuff. Like
so deep, Jim. Tell me more.
Well, the summer of 2019. So the summer before, in the before times. How do you refer to before COVID? Me and Lisa, when we talk about shit, we just go, you remember in the before times?
Yeah.
It sounds like we survived a nuclear holocaust.
I always I'd love to actually do a sketch, or just with simplicity, where you can drop your face onto the face swap app. Do you remember the kids from I think it might have been Mad Max 3? Do you remember they were all kind of?
I didn't know there was a Mad Max 3.
I think it was Mad Max 3. It was. He found these kids and they had bits of history. And they were like, oh, in the never time. Yeah. And it was all like little, and it was
never time.
It was.
That's a trope in every fucking post-apocalyptic movie where there's people who remember the before times and there's people who are only raised in the wasteland.
Yeah.
They find half of a burned magazine and they flip through it and they're like, what the fuck is all of this stuff? That's actually an interesting thing. Like, I had a friend who bought me for my birthday one year. So I'm from DC. The Washington Redskins, they won the Super Bowl in 86, something like that. 83. I was a kid. I barely remember it. In fact, I don't remember.
Back before they were allowed to be called, where they stopped being called the Redskins, is it?
Yeah. Back when they were still the Redskins. They're the Washington football team now. You know why they're the Washington football team? You know why they didn't actually pick a fucking name? Because they had all summer to be like, all right, well, we can't have a racial slur for the name anymore. And there's all kinds of names that have been bandied about for the Washington Redskins. But because it's the most incompetent fucking football franchise in the world. So here's a good name, Washington Red Tails. Do you know who the Red Tails were? They were the Tuskegee Flight School. It was an all-colored, all-black colored. They called them colored then. It was an all-black flight school of African-American pilots during World War II. You change the name from Washington Redskins to Washington Red Tails. Bam! All of a sudden, you're honoring African Americans and their contribution to the greatest.
Half your font only half your font needs to change.
Fantastic.
Jesus Christ!
Exactly. All your fight song, the beats still work. Hail to the Red Tails. Fine. They couldn't do it because some motherfucker saw this coming 5 years ago and went and copyrighted every single plausible name for the Washington Redskins. He copyrighted Washington Red Tails. He copyrighted Washington Generals, Washington Admirals. He owns the copyright. And he's not going to fucking sell it to the franchise for anything less than, whatever. And so they could, anyway, I don't know if that's true, but that's my theory as to why so this whole year, they're just a Washington football team. Pounded piece of shit. Anyway. But yeah, so my buddy sent me, we were talking about the flipping through materials from the before times. And he sent me a newspaper that he bought online from the Monday after the Redskins won the Super Bowl in the 80s. And I was just flipping through it. It's an old newspaper. They're fun to flip through. But what's fun to read is not the news articles. What's fun to look at are the advertisements.
Yeah.
For like, and the Lincoln SV whatever, it's got power steering and like whatever they thought. So when you look at kids in dystopian futures, what I think is funny for people to watch is the advertising, because the stories and the songs of that time are the art, but the advertising is like, well, what did people respond to in being told what they should be? Like, you can really see what people value by being like, well, what were they advertised to? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a funny idea. What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about the before times and travel and shit. Yeah, mystery. Missed travel, something fierce, dude. The summer before, Lisa and I went to Thailand for a week and a half over Easter, and then we did 2 weeks in Japan later that summer, just because I don't know. We got
where
good
was it?
flights.
Where was it you were? And Lisa was in. You wanted to get a photograph, and because Lisa's blonde, we
were in China. We were in Beijing. We were at the motherfucking Forbidden City, which is unbelievable to see in the middle of Beijing. But I get a photo of Lisa standing in front of the gates, and she gets a photo of me standing in front of the gates. And they're like, "We want to get a photo of ourselves." So this is 12 years ago, and we're a young couple. We're looking around, and the thing is, in the biggest like tourist places in China, it's mostly Chinese tourists. Because there's 1 billion Chinese people and they all want to come see their shit too. Yeah. So you know what I mean? You're always outnumbered as a Westerner. So we find like there's this couple standing like not too far away from us, this Chinese young guy and girl, and they're taking each other's pictures. And we, they don't have any English, we don't have any Chinese, but gesturing. We had digital cameras back then, kids. You didn't take pictures.
Oh wow.
And by holding up the camera and gesturing, and we're going, you take a photo of us, and then we'll take a photo of you. Cool. And we did that, and everybody's smiling and thumbs up. And then we're like, well, fucking, I'll take a photo of you, the guy, and Lisa, and take a photo of me, Jim, and his girl. And, I have a photo of me, and she's doing the fucking peace sign thing.
Of course. It's like the law.
So, but then I take a photo of him and Lisa, and I give him his camera back, and I turn to my right, and there's a queue of people standing, want to get their photo taken with Lisa because she's got bright blonde hair. She's very blonde and long blonde hair. And we found out later. So, there's another couple who want to get their photo taken with Lisa in front of them. And we're like, okay, we'll take this. And we did that 3 or 4 times until the 4th or 5th couple has a very, very small infant. And they take the photo with Lisa, and it's the 3 of them and Lisa. And she's like, ah. And then the dad hands her the baby.
Like she's Santa Claus.
Steps out of frame with this tiny kid, and they're like, take the photo now. And I'm like, all right. And Lisa's going, this is getting weird, dude. I'm not cool with this anymore. We leave. Somebody told us later that blonde hair is good luck. And so, all right, sure. I guess they, but it was a surreal moment.
I do love the Asians, but there's no, like, so many nationalities try to be as West as they possibly can. You can see, it's like, oh, take it, be proud of your own thing. I know the Chinese we've probably, from the West have probably infiltrated some of their things by sticking McDonald's in some places, and an Irish bar. But
I had an O'Brien sandwich in motherfucking Beijing.
I bet you did. It's so exotic.
I couldn't believe they were there.
But they don't give, they don't give a fuck. Sure they don't. Like, there's a level of, we're class. No, you're fucking grand. We're doing it out, especially the Japanese. Like, they don't give a fuck. Well, and when you look at it, you're like, oh, you're kind of cool.
Their shit just works so well, dude. You go, you wander around Tokyo, and just all the little stuff just works, and the place is clean, and the trains are on time. Like, the cleanest fucking bathrooms in any part of Tokyo you're in are in the subway.
Stop.
They won't even have bathrooms in the subway in most cities in America because they're like, well, we can't do that. That'll immediately turn into carnage. And it's just, I don't know, dude. You'll be walking around Tokyo and be like, all right, well, I have to pee. Do we want to go in and get a beer somewhere? Or like, nah, dude, there's a fucking subway station right here. We'll go in there, and the bathroom is fucking clean enough to do open heart surgery. And if you want to, it's perfect.
Wow. Jesus Christ. What are you drinking? Have you stepped?
Just drinking, I'm drinking Heineken Light. I'm trying to drink more light beer, man.
Yeah,
I'm trying to watch my girlish figure. Like I did sober October because I was the lockdown during. I was going to
ask. Like, did you go hard?
First 3 or 4 months of lockdown, I was just drinking too goddamn much. Just putting away a half a bottle of whiskey on a Tuesday night for no fucking reason, for not doing anything fun. Just like, I have more ice. Might as well have another 3 inches of whiskey.
Whiskey Tuesdays.
Yeah. So try to knock off the beer for a couple of weeks, it was good, but I'm not gonna quit drinking. Like, yeah, I don't enjoy my mornings that much.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
How much are you boozing these days?
Not too much, not as much as I like that.
You have a kid now. You can't.
You can, like, you can go handy. Like, you can't get fucked up. But you can, and Natasha doesn't drink, so it's so it's. I like that. There's only so much fun you can have drinking by yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ Almighty. So I've been backing off it a bit. Still have a couple, but
have a couple.
But fucking hell, yeah, you could go to Jesus Christ, and then there's all of a sudden out of nowhere last week, this craft beer company in Cork went, "We'd love to sponsor your podcast," and for fuck's sake, I'd send you some beers. I was like, "Well, go on, then send me the beers." Jesus Christ.
Oh, go on. Look at you. Tom, you're a soldier. The things you have to put up with. These people sending you beers.
Thank you so much for saying that, Jim.
Do you have a meat sponsor? Do you have somebody sending you meat on this podcast yet?
Yeah, a couple of different companies.
Yeah,
genuinely. Genuinely, yeah.
A couple of meat sponsors. Yeah,
there has been. Yeah, if once so long as I just mention it or whatever and don't fuck it up, there's been a couple of strange ones too. Like there was the games called, like the Irish game crowd. They were sending me a bunch of crazy shit, stuff like Python and stuff like that. But
Jesus,
yeah. But there's a South African crowd as well. They're after sending me some stuff. Just fuck it.
Irish.
Of Irish origin.
Is there a Python? Irish origin?
No. No. For some reason that seemed to be in their repertoire. They're the Irish game company, or game meets or whatever. And all of a sudden they were like, but while you're at it, would you like some Python? And because they're obviously important as crazy meat for some of these restaurants. I'm like,
you know what? I would try it. I'm not squeamish about shit like that. Like when
it's
you
pure
go places,
shit.
I
pure
had
shit.
Fucking crickets in Thailand, and I had yeah. Is it awful?
It's pure shit.
Snake meat.
There's a reason why we're not. There isn't a load of farmer stuff of snakes. Snake meat. There's a reason for that.
Imagine having the Kobe snake where they keep it still and they feed it just goose fat, and they massage it the way they do with Kobe beef.
Week.
The snake lives a good life. There's just a guy just going making his way down the
greasy snake,
making his way down the python,
and the snake kind of getting into it too. He's like, "Oh Jesus!" Oh.
I had a good life. There's no eagles out here trying to kill me. This is not bad.
Try to Kobe up every type of fucking animal. Like there's
Kobe chicken. Kobe, the happiest chickens on the planet.
A chicken needs to step its game up with me lately. I've really fucking gotten tick with chicken. It's just there's a whole pile of fucking nothing going on with chicken. It's unless you have to do a ton of shit to chicken. That's my problem with chicken. You got to do a ton of shit. It's like the laziest fucker.
Yeah, chicken's like the base. Chicken is like chicken is like the cracker. You don't want crackers. What are you putting on the cracker? That's what's important.
Yeah.
So chicken's just the chicken's the vehicle. It's the edible. It's like the rice of the sushi roll.
Yeah. How's your cooking?
Do you eat sushi?
Yeah, I like.
Dude, I fucking suck.
Do you?
I can't cook. I don't have the patience for it, man. I don't have the patience for it. I can cook stuff that has like 3 steps. Like I'll take meat and I'll season it and I'll put it in the oven for a little bit, and that's all I'm doing. I eat a lot of fish, I eat a lot of chicken, a lot of pasta because it's the simplest stuff to make.
I remember you saying to me one time we were having a couple of pints. You went, "Do you know what, the whole food thing, Tom, is overrated? I wish I could just take enough."
It really is.
Yeah, just give me a fucking tablet with all my fucking dinner in one
day. If I could take a 2,800 calorie pill every day at 3 p.m., I would do that. I would 100% do that. And then occasionally, if you go out for dinner at some Michelin star place and you want to get the foie de gras and the sauce and yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'm not averse to it. I got taste buds. I'm fine. I just don't value it enough to be like, well, I'm going to take an hour and a half of my evening and I'm going to chop this garlic very fine. And then what I have here are some rare shallots. And if you just fry these shallots by themselves and then put them aside, and then like every step in a menu, menu. That's how I think about food. It's a menu. Every step in a recipe that I see,
you must serve me.
That's another dish I have to wash. Like
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
now chop the garlic and put it to the side. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna put it to the side in a bowl. I'm not just gonna put it on the counter.
I love how
now I got another
dishes.
fucking bowl I need to wash because I can't you just put all this shit together in a come on, man.
I have a solution for your problem, because the reason why I like cooking is that I absolutely associate it with drinking. So the longer, the bigger, the most intricate the meal and the more hard work there is, it means the more drink I'm going to have to drink while fucking making the thing.
So you just pop a bottle of wine at the beginning and be like, one for the meat, one for me. One for the meat, one for me.
I mean, I'll correct you and say, yes, your premise is right, but I wouldn't fucking wash the wheels of my car with wine. I'm just not a wine fucking person. But yeah, beers galore and all the rest. Yeah. This will tell you, I'm possibly.
Do you think we're just not old enough yet?
I think I'm a complete fucking snob accidentally, right?
If you were a snob, you'd be into wine. That doesn't make sense. Snobs are into wine.
I tasted a holy grail of wine once, Jim, and I will never ever taste anything that tasted as well. It was at my sister's wedding in Florence in a castle in the Chianti region. They made their own fucking wine for no outward sales, only for in there.
Right.
And I'm drinking them out of beer. And the next thing they said to me, so would you try some wine? I'm like, no.
It's the local stuff.
No, you're fine.
You just no. You're in Italy and you're going to turn down a glass of wine?
But then somebody went, Tom, no, this is what wine is supposed to taste like. Taste this. Yeah. Well, oh my Jesus Christ. It was like...
This isn't your bottle of 12-year-old Plonk that you picked up at the Spar.
It was exactly what I imagined wine should taste. It was fucking glorious. Mm-hmm. And everything I've tasted since tasted like somebody wrung out somebody's dirty jocks and ran it through. It's like,
we're just in the wrong place, man. As soon as this shit lifts and we get vaccinated, let's go to Italy. Let's just go to Italy for fucking 2 weeks and roll around drinking wine.
We can just fuck that. We just move over there, Jim. We just get fucking some good internet, some podcast, bring the podcast gear and just podcast from around fucking Italy. Just talking about teaching Jim how to cook. Just that's it. The whole premise of it would be just teaching Jim how to cook while keeping him
disgusted with me.
Continuously fucking inebriated. Just steam.
I got to learn to cook. You're right. It's a total failing, and it's what? I'm not worried about it. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there when I'm ready for it.
Forever.
I'll get there. I'll get into some cooking and shit.
It'll be make it your lockdown fucking thing and just go, oh, you know what? I will allow myself to fucking drink if I cook tonight. So, and none of that fucking light beer piss that you're drinking. All the energy you're putting into the cooking will cancel out the calories of the beer.
I mean, I did have a giant whiskey that I was drinking for the first half of the podcast. So
you balanced the books there.
A palate cleanser there. It's basically water.
Oh, fucking. Do you know what, Jim? I've taken up enough of your time, man. I know you're...
what time is it? How are we doing here?
We're up.
What do the Buckshot crowd anticipate? Do they get pissy if it's
they're sound people. All you get is when I ask a question, I get loads of answers. Then that's
you got any cool gigs coming up? You got anything to plug?
Oh Jesus! I wish I could. I know. Yeah, I mean, I do go listen to Jim's. I'll actually put the link of it in the News Talk link in the show notes below.
But the thing is, too, the news cycle moves so fast that it's like, oh God, I remember that.
Trust me. Jim, people are locked up. They've listened to every podcast on the planet right now. They need every fucking bit of morsel of fucking listenership they can get.
You know, I flipped back to through your thing. The last time I was on this podcast was in September of 2018.
Good times.
Yeah. We didn't know what we lost.
Fine. This is just
good times. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jimpetuous. I tweet fucking stupid stuff. It's fun.
Very funny. Jim's very funny. He's highbrow. He's highbrow. No, with a good smattering of fucking silliness in between.
Highbrow my ass. You know what I tweeted today? I noticed that today is International Men's Day and it's also World Toilet Day. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, that's not a coincidence. Thank you very much.
It couldn't possibly be.
Did you by chance notice this while sitting on the shitter, scrolling through Twitter?
No. Nope. I noticed it. I hope nobody who works with me is listening to this. I noticed this while I was on a conference call today.
They all noticed it too.
I'm still working from home. It's all I'm doing. Yeah,
90% of them all noticed it too.
Yeah. World Toilet Day. That's us. International Men's Day.
Do you know what? On that beautiful, delightful note, I'm only going because I got to go do that fucking celebrity get me out here thing.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't go anywhere.
Watch fucking I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. Tom and I are part of the many comedians in Ireland that are appearing on Virgin Media's Hooked On podcast. That is just it breaks down the I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here every night. Have you ever fucking seen this show before this?
Not a fucking
dude.
Like, I haven't watched this. Still haven't watched it. That's why I'm going to watch the show. Is about to start now in a minute.
I watched the first episode of it, and it was the first episode of the season, and I was like, "Who the fuck this? That show's been on for 20 years."
No, it hasn't.
This is season 20. It is. It's unbelievable. What? It's massively popular. I don't know who. Man. I don't know. Hey, they're giving us a tiny little bit of money to be on this podcast episode, so I'll watch your garbage. Sure.
Yeah, fine. And look, I like Gordon, and I'm on with Emma Doran, so it's pretty much
nice. Emma's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so it's pretty much everybody who's been on my podcast ever. Yeah, that's all I see. I've gotten a very small, close group at the minute. Like next week, Gordon Rochford is on my podcast. Would you believe that?
That's a big get. Wow, how'd you meet Gordon?
Don't know, just bumped into him, in the yoga one of these times.
I got a box of CDs next to me right here. You remember CDs?
Oh, my Lord. We made a CD, Jim.
Yeah, I know. There we are. There's one right here. The Comedy Underground, live at Dame Street. Remember this shit?
You know what you do, Jim? Can you send me that and I will put it on my Patreon? You got to fucking... How many comedians did we have on that night?
All right. So we had you, me, Edwin Salmon. We had Totally Wired do a set. Trevor Brown, Danny O'Brien, Gordon Rochford, Robbie Bonham, Jerry McBride, and George Fox.
Fucking hell. And that was a very cool thing to do we did that time.
I mean, it was fun. Well, it was 2013, so it would have been 2012, you and I, because what it was I remember that a bunch of fucking schmucks got together in DC when I was just starting out doing comedy there, and they just got together and recorded it and put out a CD. And then I was like, oh man, you can just get together and put out a CD. You don't have to fucking wait for something to happen to you. And I just mentioned it to you over beers, and you were like, that's it, we're doing it, we're gonna book the Mercantile, we'll get it done next. And it was kind of like, I never would have had that happen if it wasn't for you, because you got a real sort of go get them attitude towards stuff.
It's a fine line between that and stupidity, Jim.
Do you even own a laptop that has a CD player?
No, I don't.
Me neither. If I gave you the CD and told you to play it for me or you were gonna die, what would you do? Go to your car? Does your car have a CD player in it?
It does. Yeah.
I don't have a car.
Fuck, Jim.
I got an old ass laptop that I haven't turned on in 3 years. I still have the charger for it, so I'll plug it into the wall and see if it goes. But can I put a CD in an Xbox? You can put a CD in an Xbox.
Yes, you can. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
There you go. There, I can play CDs. There you go. I can do that.
Thanks for that trip down memory lane, Jim. You're just after fucking bright telling me of happier times.
With
WBA.
Good to see you, brother.
You too. Like I said, I wouldn't be going anywhere on you. This other thing too. I've got to sit through an hour of this fucking thing. Good thing they're paying us.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's the dumbest fucking show. I mean, I'm sorry if you're fans of it. It's a great thing, and you should listen.
No, still shit, Jim. We're all open to fucking difference of opinion on this podcast. God. It's gonna suck ass. I know it is, English, and that's possibly one of the fucking actual tasks. Is it sucking ass? Is it?
Sure. Why not? Fucking English people are the worst.
Jim Elliott, thank you very, very much.
Talk to you soon, brother.
Till I see you in the real world.
Yeah, man. Take care of yourself.
Good luck.